Guys, what's going on? Zach Evnesh from undergroundstrengthcert.com and zachstrength.com. Been having some great conversations lately with Pete Bomarito, really talking about youth training. We train a lot of middle school athletes here, a lot of high school athletes. Of course, I've spent time at the college sector, so in the summertime, as well as winter and spring break, those guys come back. But our best athletes, our most successful athletes, they started with us in middle school. Now, Pete has something he calls the reverse periodization model. It's excellent, and it's interesting because we just got into these conversations, and for a long time, even at my presentation this past weekend at the Complete Speed and Power Summit, I spoke about reverse engineering exercises that are going to fit the athlete according to training age, biological age, and chronological age. So just now we had middle school athletes. One kid is taller than me, looks like a Spartan. We've got two, I'd say, quote unquote, normal sized middle school kids. We've had middle school kids where sometimes I got to remind myself that the kid is not in high school, but he looks like a 16-year-old. So I'm going to show you a workout that's up on the board and how we organize it and structure it with the high school athletes, and then reverse engineer for the middle school athletes. So first, let me take you over to the warm-up. This gets some tweaks, but we build kids up to this. But you can take a look right here. We've got two sets of sleds. We utilize different types of sleds, pushing, pulling sleds, band pull apart, overhand, underhand dislocator. Sometimes that's a face pull. We've got push-ups and recline rowing for two sets of 12. Now, a lot of kids can't do 12 push-ups. In fact, some kids can't do any push-ups. So what they're gonna do is recline row and more pull aparts. Even some of these kids are so weak they can't even do a micro band tricep press down, so we'll just hold the top of a push-up. So we keep regressing the exercise. I talk about this like crazy in my online underground strength coach course. There's a full series of videos about the progressions and regressions, and you have to know those regressions to properly train the younger athletes. So if an athlete can't do 2x12, let's say it's a newer middle school kid, I might say you're going to do 5 sets of 5, recline row and push-up. Most of the time they could row more than they could push, so it might be 4 sets of 4 push-ups with 8 recline row. So I increase the volume, but I have the repetitions lower, so we're maintaining proper technique and just maintaining proper position. We don't want them to get good at doing things with poor technique. Up next is some sort of a unilateral exercise. So we've got alternate forward lunges and then back extensions on the 45-degree bench. And then if the athlete's been with us for a bit, they'll be on the horizontal bench. So we've got them back there. You guys can see right there and right there. We utilize both of them quite often. After that, we're going to do an ab exercise and some dumbbell benching. Now, a new athlete, they probably don't start dumbbell benching until they've been here a few sessions, and it's super light. We're waiting really for them to have some sort of stability from the push-ups. But this is up there for the guys that this is what we want the warm-up to be. This warm-up changes every few weeks, so we want them to adapt to it. We want them to get used to the technique and get strong. And strength, you got to remember, requires skill. So abs is going to be a side plank, hanging leg raise. I have a stall bars that I basically showed Rogue Fitness some old wooden stall bars about 10 years ago, and they built this for me. This is the first set of stall bars they built. It's here. So we put bands down low or in the middle, and we will do pull-off holding. We'll do different angles to mix it up. We'll have the guys on one knee, so half kneeling and kneeling. And so we're utilizing conjugate methods to select the exercises, but we're using a linear progression. And we talk about this in the online Underground Strength Coach course. Matt Wenning and I did a seminar together, and that's one of the bonuses at undergroundstrengthcert.com. Next up, we'll do some medicine ball shouldering right here, 5 each side, and then prone T, thumbs up, 30-second hold. So we're doing isometrics for the upper back. And I'm going to increase the amount of isometric work that we do. Not crazy, but just having conversations with Bomarito, looking at some of the research. It just allows you to get more time under tension, and that's important. In fact, having my bodybuilding background from my teenage years gives me knowledge of how to put muscle on these kids, which is oftentimes the main thing you need to do for them to get stronger and faster. So that's the warm-up. Now I'll take you to the training session, what it looks like, and how it's adjusted for middle school athletes. So 1A is a front squat, 5 sets of 3, and then we've got 1B, any kind of jumps. We've got hurdle jumps in here. You can see different kinds of hurdles. We've got more hurdles over here, as well as the box, and they do 3 jumps. They'll also do squat jumps with body weight, squat jumps, frog jumps, holding a light kettlebell between the legs, sometimes light dumbbells outside the legs. And so they're jumping from different positions, right? So you got your feet wider apart with the kettlebell between the legs, feet closer together with the dumbbells outside the legs. And what it does is it prepares athletes for the unknown of what happens in sports, the unpredictability. And that's a big bonus behind conjugate programming. So if an athlete is not on the barbell front squat, even a high school athlete not on barbell front squat, we're gonna go to a goblet squat variation. Could be a dumbbell, could be a single kettlebell, could be 2 kettlebells, could even be sandbags and medicine balls. We've got tons of them, and we're gonna double the reps. So 5 sets of 3 becomes 5 sets of 6 on the squat. In this group, we've got a new athlete. He's been here about 6-7 weeks. His squats are not looking that great, so he went to bodyweight squats, and then we basically quadrupled it. So it's 5 sets of 12, slow and controlled, and then he did jumps on the lower hurdles, and he looked great with it. Then we give that athlete homework to do at home. Say, hey, buddy, practice these. Wake up in the morning, get 5, 8, 10 smooth squats, do it again after school, do it again at night. We do that a lot with athletes who struggle on calisthenics. Military press. 4 sets of 6, Bulgarian split squats, 4 sets of 6. Now, this is their 3rd week in this mini cycle, and so what I told them to do was you're gonna do 2 sets of kettlebell presses, and then you're gonna do 2 sets of dumbbell presses. It allowed them to change it up. And our newer athlete, he did not go on military press. He went on bodyweight walking lunges, and then we added in more push-ups, low repetitions, because the volume of push-ups they're doing is pretty low, so we need to get a lot of practice with it. So before I'm putting weights in their hands, they're not, I would prefer bodyweight, bands, medicine balls. The other thing is, we're not loading the spine, and Pete speaks about that with the research he's found, and that's always been my philosophy, is we're not gonna load their spine until they're in high school, and even then, some high school kids have not really hit that puberty mark where they're growing. And I've said before, I've trained 14-year-olds who look like they're 18 and vice versa, 16-year-olds who look like they're 12. So we're training them according to not just chronological age, but biological age and of course training age. So when would an 8th grader trap bar deadlift or back squat with us? That kid has probably been with us for 2+ years and has had, if they're training 2 to 3 days a week, let's just say they're training 10 times a month and they're training for a full year, 120 workouts in a year. They've had 200+ training sessions with us where they've learned the movements. And if they're gonna trap bar deadlift or if we're gonna put them on a back squat, that kid is probably 13.5 to 14, and they're going so light that the total weight is probably less than the weight they're utilizing when they go, kettlebells and sandbags. So let's say they're gonna do a back squat. They'll do 5 by 3, but they will not add weight. I will not allow them to add weight. And I'm gonna share something with you that probably this guy doesn't even remember, but Christian Thibodeau did an interview on sports performance. I'm talking around I don't even know if I was married yet, 2002, 2003. And I remember he did an interview with this guy, Chris Scarborough. Chris, I got to reach out to him and find him. This guy was great. But Christian Thibodeau was saying, those exercises are the silver bullet, and you're saving the silver bullet for when they go older. You're not trying to waste them at such a young age. So, of course, somebody will comment on this and say, well, I see these, 7-year-old Chinese girls, Chinese boys learning weightlifting. Guys, we're talking about a whole nother world. We're talking about quote unquote normal kids. And these Chinese weightlifters, they're being chosen according to their genetic makeup to be in that sport. My dad grew up in Romania. He said every month, sport coaches came to his school, made the boys get heights and weights in their boxers, stand up and get assessed. And then they would say, you're going to swimming, you will be in boxing, you are wrestling, you are gymnastics, you are basketball. They chose those kids according to their body structure and body type. My dad was in boxing and swimming, so he always tells me about his broken nose. And sometimes I look here and I notice my nose is still not straight. So back to program design. Then this finisher says sleds, shrugs, push-ups, and recline rowing. Now, the advanced athletes who are on this, they follow it as is. They're doing kettlebell or dumbbell shrugs. Their sleds will get mixed up. I might see a kid who needs to work on speed, and I'll say all 3 sets of your sleds are light sprint work. Somebody else needs a mixture of all. So I'll say you're gonna do 1 heavy sled marching. Then you're gonna do 1 light sled. You're gonna get your sprint work in. Then you're gonna do a moderate sled and get those high knees going. And I've been digging into Bomarito's university to just get more ideas. And guys, as a strength coach, you are hunting down the relentless pursuit of excellence. You're trying to get better. You're trying to destroy your old self, just as you would if you were an athlete. How do you get better? You gotta break yourself down and rebuild yourself. So this is where I'll allow kids to do different exercises. So we'll have sleds. A newer athlete or the kids that aren't doing these shrugs, they might be doing light kettlebell carries, light sandball carries. They may jump in for more push-ups and recline rows. The kid today did sleds, he did walking lunges, he did face pulls, he did side planks, he did 2 sets of dumbbell curls. So getting in those curls, guys, there's nothing wrong with it. The kids love it. They finish with an arm pump. It makes them feel good, and it's great. So what I want you to think about is progressions and regressions when you're training athletes. I want you to think about training age, chronological age, biological age, and you also got to assess their mentality. What are they ready for? What kind of coaching can they handle? Can they handle your intensity as a coach, or can they not handle it? You got to make adjustments according to their personality traits and all of the other traits I mentioned. And that's it, guys. A lot of things blowing up inside the head. Go to undergroundstrengthcert.com. If you're a strength coach, you want to get more knowledge, you want to become a great coach, you don't want to just be good, it is for you. You want to grow your business, it is for you, because one of the bonuses is putting you inside our private Facebook group for life. You're in there for life. So you got a lot of discussions on business, training, exchanging of ideas. Very powerful place. Go to undergroundstrengthcert.com. We're shutting it down tomorrow, Friday. I'm not sure when we open it up next, but you could always get on the newsletter. Go to zachstrength.com and you'll be in the know. Peace, guys. Thanks for watching.